What's up guys, Card Protagonist here, and today I will be doing a deck perform on the Dungeon World Knights deck from the XBT-04. So, Dungeon World has gotten a lot of great support from the XBT-04 Rainbow Striker set. Right now, Noboro has gotten brand new weapons to help support him to fight against the meta. Dungeon World is in a very good spot in the meta because it is one of the best rush decks and one of the best combo decks. So, you guys may ask, what is the brand new upgrade all about? First up, we still play the dual weapon build for Dungeon Knights, and you of course can see Noboro is still using dual weapons, which is one of his specialty, but this time around it is one sword and shield. And what's the most important thing is this sword and shield set will not be able to be destroyed by opponent's card effects, which is what Dungeon Knights needed for a really long time. So I'm really happy that this deck is made because Dungeon World is generally one of my favorite clans since you get to play with all your favorite characters in the Buddyfight series. And of course it is a really cool deck. Personally, I'm a fan of rush decks, and this is one of the best rush decks right now because it easily does more than 20 damage using some cheap combos, which I'll be explaining in this video. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. So first up, we play one copy of Masseria. Well, you could bump me up to 2, but 1 for me is fine because I usually just use Masseria for the board wide ability. For example, if you're fighting against certain tank decks like Atora and stuff, you could actually use Masseria, do a combo and just go for game. So Masseria is actually a fantastic card, especially if your opponent has maybe has a good setup, like first turn you draw a lot, or you just generally throw a lot of stuff on the field. You just reset the board, so it's just a very good card to have. Right, next up we play 4 copies of Quixote, the Secret of Knight's Way. Secret of Knight's Way is a great card because it's one of our main finishers right now because the weapon is very powerful, and what better effect to give that your weapon additional attack. So his ability is basically core cost is going to put it on top of a monster, which is fine because most of the monsters are disposable monsters such as Vic. Vic's skill is after you draw, you can just climb over Vic and yeah, use him as a tribute fodder. So pay 1 gauge, pretty cheap. When this all Knights and Thunder Empire on a few gains penetrate ability, this is great against war decks such as Chaos or Atora for the Silver Dragon, especially because Atora won't be able to take effect damage. At the end of the battle that this card attack, restand an item on the field. So one thing to note is even if you link with an item, the item will be able to restand because at the end of the battle, the item will just restand. So yeah, this is pretty good because you can attack your item, attack with him, your item restands, attack one more time. So especially if Vic's skill gives your item extra crit, you'll be able to fully utilize the ability. So 4 copies of Quixote. 4 copies of Camille. Camille is just generally there for searching out your items. Mental field, if you have an item equipped, you can basically search for the other half. So if you have a shield equipped, you can search for the sword. Pretty much that. And he's just there for fodder as well. Alright, so next up is 4 copies of Quixote Overton. So this is one of my finishers in the deck because first of all, you'll be link attacking with 4 creatures, which means you'll be at least doing close to 10 damage in one single swing. And of course, the Overton ability is pay 1 gauge, and if this card link attack were to be nullified by Dragon Shields, you could just pay 1 gauge and you will nullify that nullify. So yeah, good luck trying to survive that. So he's one of OTK options, and of course you can't play him without because he's Noboro's buddy. Alright, so 4 copies of Gao. Gao is also a very good card, especially another alternative grade 1 which is very offensive. So if you're not using Quixote, you could use Gao. Alright, Gao's ability is when he links attack with another adventurer, you pay 1 gauge if you do resend both cards. So most of the time I will restand this guy because, you know, each time he swings, your weapon will get additional attacks. So that is really good combo. So yeah, every time you resend him, basically you get 2 free attacks, which is fantastic. So 4 copies of Gao because Gao is one of the best dungeon monsters right now, dungeon adventurous monster at least. And when he enters the field, you give a monster additional crit, so again give him an additional crit. Yeah. Alright, next is Vic, one of my favorite and also my buddy monster. The reason why I use him as a buddy is because he's just someone you want to call most of the time. When he's called onto the field, you can as long as he's on the field, all cards cannot be all items on the field cannot be bounced back. So even though my items cannot be destroyed, it could still be bounced back. So if you have him on the field, they can't be bounced back. When this card enters the field, you may select 1 item and it gains +1 critical, and draw cards equals to the number of items you control. So since you're playing double weapon, you get a draw 2. Enter field to draw 2 for free and giving another crit to monster. It's just such a fantastic card, and it has 2 crit to boot. So even if you need him as attacker, he can swing for 2, which is great. Alright, 4 copies of Incubus. Incubus is just there to search out for set spells, which is one of the most important mechanics in the Dungeon Adventurers deck. So let's go on to set spells. 3 copies of Eyebow Academy basically just gives you extra attack. At the end of you can counter and bounce back one of adventurers, and you can call one another adventurer by paying a different name by paying its call cost. So for example, you can attack with Vic. Then alright, Vic just go back to hand, call Gao Mikado, then you can link attack and do a lot of combo damage. So I guess you guys saw the video between the battle between Dungeon Knights and Thunder Empire. Yeah, that's pretty much a combo. It's really cheap, do, and really consistent because we have a lot of search power. 4 copies of a Form Party. Form Party is basically the heart and soul of all adventurer decks. As long as you're playing adventurer, Form Party must be played because it is search engine. When you set another set spell, including yourself, so you could actually, if you have multiple copies in hand, you can cast, then you just go drop zone, cast, go drop zone, cast. You can search 1, 2, 3 times, and maybe finally finish off with Eyebow Academy, search 4 cards. So Form Party is a really important card to have because it's a search power and you can gain life, which is great. And you can search up with Incubus, and pretty much I play a lot of set spells just because of that reason. Alright, so 3 copies of Bonus Quest, one of the best draw engines in the game as well. It is basically a draw spell which discards 1 grade 2, and we have a lot of grade 2s in this deck, and you can also discard Masseria. If you do, just discard a grade 2 or higher, you can charge 2, draw 2, and gain 1 life. Yeah. So yeah, draw power. And charging gauge is very important in this deck because I calculate perfectly, and if you do not gain any gauge, you will not be able to do the full combo. You could still call your full field and draw all the cards, but if you do not get any gauge acceleration, you probably won't be able to do the 20 damage combo. Alright, 2 copies in the Boru Crossdresser, looks really cute. Alright, so choose and use one of the following effects. So there's 2 effects. Charge gauge equals the number of knights on the field. So most of the time after fulfilling a field, you pretty much have 4 or more knights on the field. Sorry, 4 knights, yeah. 4 knights max because I believe these are not knights. 4 knights on the field, so charge 4 gauge. Really easy, helps you make sure you have enough gauge. And it's a hyper energy, so it's hard to pass. Or gain life equals the number of knights on the field. So it is kind of like the Thunder Empire spell, which gain life or gains life or gains gauge. So yeah, it's a great choice. Yeah, if you need life, sometimes you could use it as well. 4 copies of Protection of Shamshala, pay 1 gauge and Green Dragon Shield. Alright, for items, we play 4 copies of Shield of Glory Order Guard. So this is the SP version, if you know Boru in the art, really nice. So equip cost is 1 gauge. If you have a Sword of God, basically if you have swords on the field, this card, all items can be destroyed by card effects, and damage dealt to you are reduced by 1. So pretty good because Thunder Empires is really powerful with multi attacks, and you guess you could reduce those attacks by 1. And yep, it's pretty nice to have, and it's basically a 1 crit weapon you can swing for 1. So yep, it's there. A pity that it doesn't nullify the Taurus burn skill, but it's okay. It has to balance. 4 copies of sword, equip cost 1. And if you have a shield on the field, you can gain plus 7k power, making it 10k attacker. Really good against a Tora because you can solo a Tora even if they're soccer boots, because he has a 10k beat stick. Can run through most of the stuff. 1 copy of Impact, Golden Age. So basically his extra finisher. Most of the time if I cast this, I can always use this Impact. Very powerful Impact. Pay 3 gauge and put this card on top of a Knight's monster. And this card enters the field during your final phase. You can stand up to 2 cards with weapons in their attributes, so you can usually stand these 2 cards. And you get to attack with another during the final phase. So I think about it, it's kind of like 3 damage, 4, 5, 6 damage impact for 3 gauge. Really good. And he has Penetrate and Soul Guard, so if you're playing against tanks, you can just swing in. Yeah. Alright, so this flag I have Kazane. It looks really nice. It's Japanese though. It's a Japanese promo, so you won't be able to find this in English, unfortunately. 1 copy of Vict as my buddy. You can see it's one of those monsters that you want to call most of the time. So I hope you guys enjoy my deck profile on the Dungeon World Knights deck. Be sure to add me on Facebook and subscribe to my channel. And if you guys would like to buy Buddyfight decks and singles, please check out my shop, which is www.buddy-mart.com. Thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next video.